Live.
Let Almighty light.
You're alive, man. I got a sunny window over here. First time in a while. I haven't seen the sunshine in a minute.
Sunny day. All right. So you've seen that trend where everybody does drafts? You seen that? Like on their podcast, they'll do a draft?
I haven't.
What? You haven't seen that?
Uh-uh.
So they'll name a subject. Like we'll say top 5 best top 5 worst things that can happen to you on a Sunday morning before you preach.
Okay.
And it's like you're drafting the best answers, right? And so you give one, I give one, and we'll do our top 5. And we can't, if you say it, I can't say it.
Oh, I see. So you said drafts, and I'm thinking of like TikTok drafts, like what's in something that you make up and then just kind of put aside. But
yeah, it's all these podcast guys are doing them. They've been doing them for like a while, like a couple months. So top 5 worst things to happen to you before you preach on a Sunday morning.
Oversleep.
Oversleep. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I have like a routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up on Sunday morning. Our worship, we have Bible class at 9, worship at 10. I wake up about 5:30. I get to the building between 6:30 and 7, and just have a series of things that I do before class starts. And man, when I oversleep and that rhythm gets thrown off, I feel terrible.
Yeah, I said before you preach, not hey, give me your answer and then preach.
Sorry, that's what I do.
Now he wants to slap me. That's why we do this podcast in separate states. Mine is you look down and you have a stain on your shirt. That's my number 1.
Oh, that's terrible. And you don't usually wear a jacket, so you can't just button the jacket, right?
That's right. Stain on shirt. I wear a tie, so I can't like pin my tie over it.
That's right. Worst things that can happen. I mean, I guess there's the obvious. You can that tickle that, and it's not obvious. Obviously, this would be something else. But the tickle that you just can't get out, and so you're always like, somebody bring me water.
Yo, that's good. That's good. The tickle is good. I hate that too. I get that when I lead singing. Mine is what's my number 2? You print out the wrong sermon notes. and you don't know till you're up on stage.
I was gonna say, when do you realize you've printed out the wrong sermon notes? You open up, put your paper out, and it's like, oh no. Now you got a choice to make. Do you wing it?
That's right.
Or do
I know my slides well enough?
Take 2 minutes and run to the office?
Lead a one more song. Amazing Grace. 4 verses only.
So I have this fear of tripping up the steps.
Oh, number 3, the trip. That's right, because it just sets the mood for the whole sermon.
And I have such a distinct fear of it that I have often wanted to trip on purpose,
just to get it out.
Stand up at the microphone and say, "Hey, that's how I roll," or something like that. And
hey, we all stumble in this life.
That's right. Oh yeah, immediate lessons.
How about this? Starting a metaphor and it doesn't work. The metaphor is just like, it's just bad. It's just out there and it's bad, and you're like, that was the worst. That was terrible.
Yeah. So here's the question with that: at what point do you realize it's bad?
Exactly. Usually not till it's over. Usually not till it's over, and you're like, that just didn't work.
What was I thinking when I wrote this down?
That's right. Or flying from the seat of your pants on it. That's usually what my problem is. Number 4.
Number
4 or
4.
5. This is 5.
The fly is open.
Oh, dude.
I guess
That'd
that wouldn't
be
be
the
before.
worst.
That's like one of those things you realize when you finish and someone says, I've been trying to get your attention the whole time, but
That's right. I've been ignoring you the whole time.
I wonder
Crazy
why
how
you
that
were
works.
flagging me down.
Okay. This is easy number 4 for me. This is like easy. This probably is like more closer to number 1. An elder or a deacon says, "Hey, I need to talk to you after the service."
Beforehand.
Right before you go up. Right? Yeah.
What?
Last one, number 5.
Last one. Man, I don't know. Reading through the scripture beforehand, and you realize there is a phrase in there that is commonly mispronounced.
Yes.
I didn't realize.
Forgetting how to pronounce a name.
Sunday. Well, there was a phrase of scripture in the Bible I was reading, and it wasn't the same version I was reading to prepare. And in my version, it says they pitched their tents among them. Mm-hmm. And that viral YouTube video always comes through my head.
It's coming
like,
through
do
the
not
brain.
be that guy.
Tech problems.
Oh,
Tech problems.
and it's always right before you're getting ready to go. They're like,
Right before.
Hey, wait.
Right before. All right, that's our top 5 worst things to happen to you on a Sunday
no
morning.
particular order, right?
Till we're all growing a beard. A man's face should never be bare. We just want some facial hair. We're anticipating, yeah, everyone's waiting for beer.
Well, hey, everybody, this is Behind the Beards. And here on Behind the Beards, we pull the curtain back, take a look behind the scenes, and try to reveal the things that go on in the hearts and minds of your ministers and ministry leaders. I am Joshua Fowler, preacher minister in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My partner on the other side of the screen, Aaron Partlow, is a youth minister in Longview, Texas. Man,
Whoop, whoop.
enjoyed that little pre-show. That may stay on the cut for the lead in on the podcast area.
I would hope so. I gotta go watch our podcasts.
I know.
My
Quick,
brilliant 5-minute countdowns are not making it.
Along that vein from our one, we're talking about things that kind of that throw you off when you're getting ready to preach. I did a wedding in Spanish for one of our couples who,
Olale.
and so it's already a little tense. I got everything written out. These people were new to the church. Our Spanish ministry was new. I was kind of just really getting into being comfortable with my Spanish, but we're in the auditorium, and even though we had turned on the air conditioner, something had reset, so the air conditioners had turned off. It was hot. I was sweating, and the bride's father handed me a Kleenex, so I wiped my forehead with the Kleenex, and
All your makeup came off.
all my makeup came off. Yes, that's right. No, and I just kept on preaching. Well, the groom starts laughing, and he can't stop laughing. And then the bride is kind of chuckling. And then I look and people in the audience are laughing. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? What did I say? That's what my first thing was.
Right.
What
yeah.
did I say? And my wife finally points to her forehead as she's sitting in the audience. And a piece of that Kleenex and moisture don't mix. So when I wiped my forehead, I had a stripe of Kleenex across my
Oh,
forehead.
nice.
And I was like, oh, thanks, Mario.
Right?
So funny.
That's funny.
Man. So funny.
Man, it has been a while since we
It
have
has.
been on this podcast.
About a month, right?
It has been about a month. It's been a crazy. I will say this. I don't like our holiday schedule at Pine Tree. It's kind of crazy. I get it. And it makes sense to me. I don't like it because it just felt weird. Like we didn't have Wednesday night class. We didn't have Bible class, so we just had Sunday morning service. And I think if I'm not involved, which I guess I preached a lot of those sermons, so I guess that I was going to say if I'm not involved in the service, I don't really feel like maybe that's a whole deeper issue there. If I'm not involved with the service, I don't feel like I have a place. But didn't mean to unpack that. But then, we were gone for New Year's, and then I was at NCYM, and we had that Christmas schedule. So it just felt like yesterday was like the first time back in a long time. Not yesterday. Well, yeah, yesterday. No, Sunday.
Day before yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. So we had, I came back, we did Wednesday night, and I came back and did Sunday morning. So, that's not right at all. I don't know even what I'm talking about. We did Sunday morning, and then I had youth group Sunday night. That's how out of it I am. But it felt good. It felt good to be back with my teenagers. It felt good to be back with our church family. It was a weird Sunday for us, but it was good.
The holidays are always, it's kind of a catch-22, right? It's always good to have something different, but at the same time, I think a lot of times it helps you kind of appreciate the structure of expectation, I guess. In one way or another, and I tell this to parents all the time, like, your young babies really can't communicate with you, but if you create a routine and a structure around their day, when they're upset, you know what they need. Ours was wake up, eat, playtime, nap, when they were babies. So, like, if they were crying, we knew what they needed. Had they been up for a while, well, they probably need a nap. Did they just wake up? They're probably hungry, and so any other time they probably need to be changed. So, but that routine and that structure just gives you some comfort. And somehow I think we get to adults and we forget how much we often need that routine and that rhythm.
I enjoy vacation. I like vacation, but man, I get hunger for coming back to my routine.
Oh yeah,
it's like, really weird. It's like the first
have fun, but man, is it good to be home.
Yes, yeah. Like as soon as my body and my head hits my bed, my pillow, I'm just like, This is the good life right here.
Yeah, even when we had the worst mattress known to man, like it was mine and it was familiar, and I knew my back was going to hurt when I woke up in the morning, but it was still my bed and I still wanted it over anything else. So
that's right. That's interesting.
So you guys got to kind of go back to Topeka, visit some fam, right?
We did. It was a lot of fun. We got to see some good friends of ours, Brittany and Cameron Harris, and we got to see some family. We got to play 9 holes of frisbee golf at my favorite frisbee golf course in the United States, at the Crestview, and lost. I only had 2 discs. I had a Wraith that I had just bought, and I had never thrown a Wraith before, and it wasn't until like hole 7 that I started throwing it well.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is, but it was still a lot of fun. And then I had a Champion Rhino putter that and I had a Shark. That's right, I had a Shark for my father-in-law, and then the guy I was playing with let me borrow a putter, which I should have just putted with the Shark because I couldn't putt with his Rhino to save my life. And he beat me by 1 stroke.
I've always said a bad day outside, even at disc golf, is still better than being stuck indoors somewhere.
It's true, and I loved it was a blast to get in 9 holes. We would have played more, but we completely ran, like we were walking back to the car and it was like pitch black. So
it is hard to throw discs. It's not hard to throw discs in the dark. It is hard to find discs that you've thrown in the dark, no matter how well you throw them.
No matter how well.
We spent a long time looking for 2 discs in that football field. And it was a wide open football field.
And it was just
and they were brightly colored discs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just dusk. But
spent most of our field work
searching.
Yeah.
We had a good Christmas, man. We
you guys went all over the world. Like you guys traveled everywhere.
3,100 miles we put on the vehicle. So we drove from Baton Rouge to Austin, up to Oklahoma City, and then up to South Michigan. So kind of weird. I didn't realize, geography throws me off in the U.S. It really does. Because it was a 15-hour trip from Oklahoma City to right outside of Detroit where we were staying. It was 16 hours from Detroit to Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And that doesn't. I mean, it seemed like it should have been a lot further to come home,
Right.
because we were 10 hours, mostly north, a little bit west. So I don't know, just kind of weird the way everything kind of lays out. But,
Oh, you were going downhill. That's why.
oh, that's right. That's right. You catch a little extra momentum.
Always forget about the downhill
Yeah.
when traveling south.
With the curve of the, I don't know. But it was really good. We got to meet, Jody's engaged, so we got to meet her fiance's family. Had never been to Michigan before, so it was really cool to go to Michigan. We didn't have enough time to really get into Detroit to go see Detroit Stadium or anything like that, but it was good, man. Had a great trip, but like you said,
Glad to be
so
home.
good to come home. Mm-hmm. So good to come home. I got to test out my freshly healed broken foot. Hadn't been snowboarding since I broke my foot. So
Oh yeah.
it'd been 2 years since I've been on a snowboard.
Nice.
And so I had to kind of relearn some things, but came home injury free. And it was
That's
stinking
good.
cold, man.
Really?
So cold. Yeah, like the highs were in the teens when we were skiing.
Rarely like people are that cold when skiing and snowboarding because you're generating so much body heat.
Yeah, no, while we were skiing, it wasn't bad, but everything around it, like the wind chill in Oklahoma was negative 13. And just getting out and loading the car, when you have sub-zero temperature indexes, I guess, wind chills.
I'd have to put my socks on with my chacos.
The tragedy. Oh,
The tragedy. Well, that's what people say when I have to put my toe socks on. What a tragedy! What is happening?
Oh, those things kind of give me the willies, dude. Those toe socks, kind of like
I
the
love
toe
'em.
shoes. Those Vibram toe. Oh, I just can't do it.
I don't like the toe shoes, but I like a good pair of toe socks with my chacos.
It's too much effort to put on.
That is very true. And to wash, and then like when you
Toes don't have the
it's,
same dexterity, right? As
it's
your
not
fingers.
just like matching socks. Like you have to match a left toe sock with a right toe sock.
Yeah.
It's this whole process. Luckily, I don't wear them enough. That like I have some that I haven't even worn yet. Like they're still fresh out of the package because it's very rare that I'll put them on.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, man, we're going to look at a few things today. It's going to be kind of one of those episodes that we don't really know what it's going to look like until we get done with it. And I don't think we probably won't deal with anything too heavy, but it's always good to kind of look back at where you've been. And the new year kind of gives us that opportunity to look back and, the year in review. Like what happened? What did we learn from it? How did we grow? And what are some areas we need to move forward? Resolutions is kind of the obvious thing that comes around at New Year's. Yeah, have you made any resolutions for the year?
I don't know about resolutions. I kind of think about things a little bit differently. So if you have resolutions, we can go through yours. I have some things. I put things on a paper in front of me. Like I'll have it in my office, or I'll have it in my work office, or some things that I want to remind myself, like truths that I need to remember, kind of moving forward. And I've had some things kind of revealed to me in the last like month and a half that have come full fruition this last year or whatever, that God has revealed to me about myself and things I need to work on. And so it's like, man, this is the year I'm gonna work through these ones. So this last year was a good year for me, and I feel like I've moved through and processed through a lot of stuff. It's I don't know, even like if you're happy and healthy, I think switching ministry jobs is hard on you, no matter what. Like it just takes a mental toll, and maybe it's just me. It takes a mental toll, and there's a lot of learning about myself that I get through that. So there's been some stuff like that I've been working through.
Yeah, for sure. I don't set resolutions. I think setting resolutions typically sets you up for failure. Because the way our minds work, the goals that we set are so far away.
Right.
like for me, my goal weight is 195 pounds. Like, bro, I'm 50 pounds away from that, and have been for 23 years. Like, since about the time my wife got pregnant with Dustin, I gained more weight than she did in her pregnancy. She lost her weight. I lost none of mine, and I've carried it, for the rest of my life there. So, but if you just said like, oh, they're either far too vague to really be able to gauge growth, or they're so far fetched that it takes too long to get there. You just give up on them. So, I like the concept of kind of setting a word or a phrase that you're going to focus on for a year. And I also like the concept of setting a path. And then, my challenge then is I certainly have an end in mind, but for this year, I'm going to set a path, and I'm going to gauge my progress along that path along the way, so that those small incremental steps, just they have a little more meaning as we just move a little further down the road. They say kind of that with weight loss, right? I mean, losing, a half a pound or a pound a week doesn't really seem like much.
Right.
But if you really want to sustain a healthy way of life, you have to make those small changes. If you go on The Biggest Loser and you lose 100 pounds in 7 weeks, that's really good in the moment, but that's hard to sustain.
Yeah.
And most of those people end up putting some things right back on because they don't develop healthy habits they can sustain when they get back into their regular.
Or they go home and they return to, the way that they were living at home.
Yeah.
Because you can't sustain your vacation life forever.
No, that's right. In a vacuum on a ranch with a personal trainer sitting there telling you what to do and where to go and how to eat. So I've kind of, and I'm still working on kind of what that path looks like for me, because there's a lot of areas that I need some growth in personally, and some of that kind of we've talked about through some of the things that you sent back from NCYM. I'm like, oh, dude, that's good.
Right? Yeah.
And like for me, like my spiritual objective for this coming year is just to lean more into the faithfulness of God. I've learned that I get far too confident in my own talent, my own ability in certain areas, that I take some things on and forget to just like do my best in some other areas, and then turn it over to God and let Him work in it. And so just looking for different opportunities to just surrender those things over and let God work what He's going to work on, and kind of go. So
that's good.
It's my like faithfulness, I guess, is kind of the tendency of looking in there, and it goes in a bigger area as well when it comes to your own personal life and family and your marriage. But
for sure.
What about the year, man? You learn anything about yourself, about your ministry? Let's talk ministry for a little while, right?
Right.
I can keep talking if you want me to keep talking, because unless you got something right off the top of your head.
No, you're good. I learned what I learned about my ministry. Is that the question? Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah, about you as a minister or your ministry. Or
I have a deeper understanding. I have more of a passion now for using more adults in my ministry, and creating a ministry team. It's been something I feel like I've talked about on the podcast before. It's been something that I've always wanted. When I go to the National Conference of Youth Ministry and I talk to some of these other churches, or I talk to other youth ministers, and they kind of have a team of people who are passionate about youth ministry and doing this. Like I enjoy that, and I think that that's a great model. And so I have attempted this last year, and I would say like I attempted and failed, but I've learned a lot how to like establish and how to work with that team. And a lot of that's my own communication failures, or my own foresight of how to utilize a team. And so it's not on anybody else except for myself, because I'm the one who's supposed to be leading this team. And so this week and next week, and via Darren Winterfest and stuff like that, I am working on a better year-long plan to kind of give my adults who have said, hey, we're passionate about youth ministry, we're passionate about helping these teens grow in their faith, kind of a substance. So that's something that's been working on me. That's something that I've been learning this year. It's also just there's so much, like I said, like when you switch jobs, like there's so much learning you have to do. Like you have to learn the dynamics of your congregation, and it changes, and you have to learn the ministry staff that you're working with. So I just feel like now I'm getting to a point where I feel confident in my membership at Pine Tree, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for
sure. Like I feel like I have an idea. So I have an idea of what I'm doing.
Finally,
after 12 years of youth ministry,
what you're doing.
I feel like I have come to a place where I'm like, hey, I know what I'm going to do this year. I know what I want to accomplish this year at the Pine Tree Youth Group and things like that. Also, I just have a really good group of kids and really good group of parents who want to be involved, and so it makes it easier to just kind of like have a plan. So.
Yeah,
like I've said a whole lot of nothing.
No, I don't think so. I've had kind of a similar, journey. We've been here at Goodwood and Baton Rouge for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And when we first got here, like we were doing everything. Mm-hmm. Because the church had carried such a burden for a while. Mm-hmm. And that's what they needed. And so, we were there. We started a campus ministry, and I was basically the campus minister. I was the youth minister. I was the preaching minister. I was a visitation minister. When it came to helping with everything.
Right.
And, over the last year or two, we've had some other guys step up and really take control of our campus ministry. Mm-hmm. We've had some other guys step up and really take ownership of our youth ministry. And we've had some people really step up and take care of organizing LTC, and this has all happened over the last year. And so this last year, well, it does and it doesn't.
Right.
It feels good if you realize that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel great if you have placed all of your value and all of your purpose to this body and you being able to perform all of these tasks. Mm-hmm. And in one sense, we got to our especially our campus ministry, man. They were meeting on Wednesday nights and somebody else was leading that Bible study. And I'm like, man, I love being with our college kids. I want to lead that Bible study.
Right.
I want to be there with them on Sunday nights. I want to be there with them to do all this. But that's not healthy. Mm-hmm. And so to see a church grow to a place where, and these aren't paid people, right?
Right.
I mean, these are volunteers that have stepped up to take these roles because they see that and have a passion for those kind of things. And so I had to really kind of step back, Heather and I both, and go, it was really nice when we were really involved, but look how many more people are involved in the work of the church now in the community.
Right.
And how much better and more sustainable is it in that way? That's a hard place to get to because, it's hard to turn those things over and not go, well, I would have done it differently. I was like, yeah, but you're not doing it. Somebody else is doing it, and they got to do it in a way that's true to themselves. And
that's hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy to get there, but once you get there, you realize, man, this is so much better. Mm-hmm. This is so much better when the whole body is participating in the work, and it's not just one or two people. Like it's that one step that gets past that 80-20 rule, right? 20-80 rule, whatever it is. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Mm-hmm. and it's been really good for me to see. It's been really good for my own perspective of my own ministry as well, and to realize, this is kind of what you're supposed to be doing, training people to go out and do the work of God in the community, and so that's been a really really good perspective shift, for me here over this past year. We just announced to the church on December 18th that we're making a transition kind of away from Baton Rouge in March.
What?
So that's yeah, that was a good fake surprise face there, Aaron.
Thanks. I've been working on that.
Yeah. They we've done a lot of really good stuff here in Baton Rouge. The church has come a long way. But it's time for us to move on to kind of what's next. And man, our family has changed so much in the last 6 months.
Grandpa.
Yeah, and she's 9 months old now.
Right, that's wild.
She started walking this past week. My daughter's getting married this coming summer. All the kids out of the house. We're kind of in a place where, as a family, we needed a different place. But at the same time, I really believe the work that God called us to do here in Baton Rouge has been done. And I'm really excited for what the future holds for him here. I really am. There's some things in place and some going. I look forward to kind of seeing what's there. We don't know what's next for us just yet. We're still waiting to see where God's going to direct us. But one of the other things I realized is we talk about this a lot, right? Self-care.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally.
What
I realized is I'm not very good at it.
Right. No, we talk a big talk, but at the end of the day, there's some like hard basics that like really come back to us. I told you about this experience I went through. I saw a counselor. His name's Steve Meeks, and it was really funny. It's really funny to me, and I actually get to present this to our ministry staff here, not this next Monday, but the Monday after, the 22nd or something like that. And I literally called Josh before we went in, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this story mapping thing. It's going to be whatever. Like, I was so smug and just like, yeah, this is going to be an experience, whatever. Man, I hate myself that I even did that. And then I went through it, and what it was what I was afraid of, which was like a magnifying glass on myself. I want to be up front, but I only want you to see what I want you to see.
What I want you to see, right?
Yeah, kind of a thing. And so it was really amazing. It was really powerful. The Spirit was moving, and God was there, and He was in that conversation. And so we talked about like things that we learned about ourselves and things we were moving forward. And I learned that that there were a lot of idols in my life, that there were things that I escaped to when things get difficult, when things get hard, or I get stressed. I might escape to food, I might escape to video games, I might escape to these other places, or places to be alone or away. But in the truth of the matter is the place that I should escape is to God. Mm-hmm. And what does that look like, and what does that mean? I think it's probably why Psalms chapter 1 has hit me so hard in the last couple of weeks, and I can't get it out of my head. Is that idea of meditating on God's word and spending that time with God. And so that's a truth that I'm trying to live out more. These are those things that I said that I'm placing in front of myself for this year. So that God is my high place, God is my tower, God is my refuge, and that's where I need to thrust myself or bring myself. When I feel like I'm out of control, when I feel like things are out of my control, I always try to make jokes. I try to sound smarter than I really am. Guys, I'm really not that smart. and I try to use my gift of speech that the Lord has gifted me and blessed me with, but I use it for myself, or I use it for those kind of things. And so instead, I am focusing more on the fact that, God is in control. God controls me, and that control is in God's world, not mine. And that I am following and I am serving Him, and come good or come bad, I will follow His control that He has. There's a large aspect of myself. There was something that I never wanted to reveal to others or myself, but I sought a lot of praise from deacons, from elders, from parents of kids in the youth group, for the good work that we're doing, like within the youth group. That's what I was seeking after, was, hey, if I can make those people happy, which you should make those people happy, like they should be happy with the work that I'm doing, I guess, to clarify or justify that. But I was seeking that praise instead of doing youth ministry straight out of the passion that Christ has placed within me. That it was more about, hey, to make sure the elders know that I'm doing a good job. Make sure the deacons are happy with me. Make sure my parents don't have a complaint about anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
That I was,
which is not
seeking that
possible, by the way,
praise.
right?
It's not possible.
Yeah, and it's a really hard balance to keep, or excuse me, a really hard. Well, let's just say this: like, for some of us, words of affirmation are a love language.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point you have to ask the question, do you need people to tell you did a good job because it's just a part of your character and it's a part of the way you receive and are shown that you love? Or do you need someone to give you that affirmation because that's where you find your purpose and your identity?
Right.
Right. And those are two very different questions.
Super different.
There is... The challenging part is when you find yourself in both of those worlds, right? Because, like, from my wife, I need words of affirmation. And when I go to her and I say, hey, how was the sermon this morning? What I need from her is I need for her to say, it was awesome, babe. You're the best thing I've ever seen and done, and you're God's gift to the world. That's what I need from her. I don't even need her to mean it. I just need her to say it.
Right, yeah.
From the people in the church, it's not so much about love as it is about value.
Yeah.
Perfect example, I was having lunch with somebody and this past week, and he was talking about, he's pretty educated, intelligent guy, and he said, look, man, some people just shouldn't be speaking in public. And he said, I'm one of the previous preachers. He goes, man, I liked him. He was pretty good. This other guy was good. And he goes, and Josh, me, I think you're pretty good too. And he kind of moved on. I'm like, yo, pretty good? Like, that kind of feels like a backhanded compliment,
Right.
Like, yeah, you're relatively okay, man. And
that's how I feel about myself.
Yeah. See, the problem is it's not how I feel about myself. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know what the truth really is. But I know, so he was actually giving me a compliment because that's probably the highest praise he's going to offer anyone.
Right.
Because of his nature. But in the moment, I was like, that was a weird way to phrase that. I wonder what he meant by that. Did he mean I'm not okay? Are there things that so I then start questioning that instead of just going, hey, man, thanks. But yeah, man, seeking that praise. It's not like there aren't scriptures on that, right?
Yeah,
about seeking out the praise of men. But I think the important aspect of that is segregating in your own emotion that what part of me is receiving this as a form of love and what part of me needs this for identity and value. Because in one sense or another, we need words of affirmation, but can I be content to just know that what I'm doing is for God's purpose and for God's will and for his glory. And if nobody ever comes to me and says, man, you did really good on that, can I be okay with that? And that's often not a very easy place to get to. And I want to go, hey, did you not even notice? I mean, nobody said anything about the work. I spent a lot of time on that. I spent a lot of energy on that. It took a lot to put that together and bring all these people together. And, nobody really said anything.
Right.
But everybody enjoyed it. It was well done, well attended. And so finding those places where you find that purpose and identity there and those things. I've always kind of been envious of those people in our churches that can do that background work and just be so fulfilled in doing that background work. I mean, you show up and the place is completely decorated, and it's like people just assume that it's that way all the time. But then after everybody leaves, they come in and they take it down, and nobody knows who put it up. Nobody knows who took it down. They just know that it was there, and then it wasn't. And for all they know, we could have hired somebody to come in and decorate the place.
Yep.
And they're good in that because they've served. Like, it's such a it's a foreign place, for me to be. How's your family, man? Anything change in your family? Anything you learn about family stuff over the last year? I've talked a lot about my family of late because of how radically different it has become. But
I learned that my wife is amazing and awesome. But I feel like I learn that every year. No, like Sam is growing so much. It is incredible to just watch your kids grow and change. And he has the potential. I think every parent says this about their kid, right? Every parent thinks their kid is like the bee's knees. But it'll be amazing to watch him grow. And I need to write this down to see if this changes when he's in his teenage years. But I feel like he has so much potential, and that if he just wills it or wants to do it, he can accomplish it. And that teaches me a lot of stuff. Like, if I just have the will to do it, and I guess I think about we spent an entire year from the moment he turned 3 to 4 trying to get this kid to be potty trained. And he just was like, nah, I'm good. And then, I kid you not, one day we were sitting here, and he was in the living room. I was working on something here at my computer, and all of a sudden I hear the toilet flush. And I'm like, oh, what did he just do? And he came back out.
What did we just lose?
He just came back out, and he was like, I was like, what'd you just do? He's like, oh, I just went potty in the toilet. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I just went potty in the toilet. And he just from that day on, he was just like, yeah, I do it now. What's wrong? I just go potty in the toilet. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, so you just decided that you're going to have a dry diaper, or that you're not going to have an accident. And he hasn't had a wet diaper overnight. He'll get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom and then crawl back into his own bed. And I'm just like, what? It's almost like he has a timer that goes off, and he's like, all right, now's the time for me to master something that you've been trying to teach me that I have been fighting against. He's got this same thing. He's got this, I always call it a big wheel, but I think they were called something else growing up. But it's like a remote control Jeep. Mm-hmm. And forever, it's been my dream for him to just get in it and drive it by himself, because I would have thought that was the coolest thing ever. Well, but it's got a remote control, so I usually drive it and control it. Well, the other day we were outside, and he just got in Ruby, started it up, and was driving around the yard, and was like, "Wow!" And I was like, "This is amazing!" And he's just driving it around the yard. And I think there's something about just I don't know, stop being afraid to change or to start something new, and just jump in and just do it, And I guess I feel that way with God a lot of times. There's a lot of things that God's like, Aaron, that this will be good for you and your ministry. Just do it. Just do it. And so there's a lot of things for me that's kind of applied to. I used to be afraid sometimes to contact parents and be like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. But now I'm like, man, just do it. Like, just have a conversation with that person. It's not that big of a deal, and it's really good, and it's really healthy. And so anyway, that's been something that I've learned. I guess that's not really about my family, but it's something that Sam has been teaching me growing up. I will say this, like, I appreciate, and I have learned how much my wife really serves the church out of her passion for the church, and not out of as a responsibility as the youth minister's wife. I think that's really powerful. I was sitting down with one of our shepherds from Topeka, Kansas, and he looked at me and he looked at Lauren and he said, "Man, you know, something that I took for granted was the fact of how much you both are a team, and how much Lauren really worked with the youth group and worked with the girls and really just enjoyed it and did that. We took that for advantage." And I looked at Lauren, and she kind of gave me the smile, like, "Yeah, you can say it." And so I looked at him and I said, "No, you didn't." I said, from the very get-go, from the very first interview, you all made it clear that Lauren's was not being paid to be the youth minister's wife, and that that you supported her going back to school to be an occupational therapist assistant, that you supported her being a mother, that you supported her being a member and a part of the women's ministry, and all those other things, Friend Speak, that you supported her doing that. She served the youth group out of her passion for serving God, and because of what He's called you to do. And she answered. She said, "Yeah, I agree." I said, "I felt extremely supported in my ministry life, and I was a volunteer, and I absolutely loved it, enjoyed it." She said, "You guys appreciated me more than you, I guess, maybe you thought you did," and I thought that was really cool, and it did make me think a little bit more about how grateful I am that my wife, loves to serve, and she loves to serve the youth ministry. Like, that she has a passion for youth ministry as much as I do. And so she's my number one volunteer, but that's her choice, and she doesn't have to. Matter of fact, this quarter, I'm co-teaching with the junior high class with another teacher, and he's doing the main part of the teaching. So Lauren gets to go to whatever class she wants, and she's like, it's halfway through the quarter, and she's like, "This is weird. I'm ready to be back with the teens," kind of a thing. So it's been that's been enlightening for us.
Yeah, we've learned a lot, and it's something really similar. One of the things that I have tried, all of my life to overthrow is this. We've got to get past this derogatory way that we look at men in particular. "Oh, you really outkicked your coverage with that one, didn't you? You're really boxing above your weight class there. You don't deserve a woman like that. What is she doing with you?" And that kind of stuff, where there's just this. The truth is, we both, if we are doing marriage properly, we both have married someone that we really don't deserve, that we have promised to love and to strive to earn, or not earn, but to become worthy of the love of the one that we're with. And there are certainly things, about my wife that, I look at it, I go, man, even after we've been together 27 years, and there's still moments where I go, man, she's really good to me. She's also really good for me. And when I'm talking with my kids especially, when they talk about kids, girlfriends, boyfriends, like, why are you with this person? Why do you love this person? It's like, well, they make me better. It's like, okay, that's great. How do you make them better? Because this is something that you have to do, as, like you said, as a team. She makes you feel better, do things better, but are you contributing anything to their betterment? And we have, like, together, we have grown so much in our marriage over this last year, with some different things that we've dealt with. And I've seen a side of her that I've never really seen before. I've seen protective mama bear come out and protect her kids,
right? Yeah,
but I've never really seen that side of her come up and really stand in my defense. Sometimes even, like, against myself, being a little bit self-destructive. And that's been one of the things that's just been a profound like realization for me. And that is like, man, we I need to pay better attention to this and really think about what the future holds. And sometimes you lay some things out and God really puts it to the test. I've been struggling with dealing with God's faithfulness, and He's put some things in our heart. And I kind of wanted to wait. There's a part of me that wanted to wait to tell the church that we were moving on. I wanted to wait until I had a definite job to go to.
Right. Yeah. Most people do.
But I've been, I've talked to a couple of different churches, over the last few weeks, and none of them have made any decisions yet. And I'm like, well, okay, God, I hear you. He goes, just do what's right. Do what you believe I'm calling you to do. Mm-hmm. And just trust me that when the time is right, I'm going to open a door for you. Amen. And you're going to know it's the right door to walk through. And you can do it with confidence because I opened it, you didn't. And I
you know what that plays into?
Hate it when he does that. What's that?
Well,
must be Galatians 6:9.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Josh, don't grow weary in doing good.
Don't grow weary in doing good. I know.
For real. Man, we are thankful to everybody who supports us here at Behind the Beards. Man, there were a lot of people at NCIOM who are like, "Oh yeah, you do the Behind the Beards podcast." And I'm like, "Yeah, where you at? I guess you're watching it. That's crazy." Yeah. I don't expect anyone to watch us live. Like that seems like a hot mess. But we want to thank y'all for being here today. We also want to remind you of Galatians 6:9, and this is something that we're striving to do every week, every day. Is don't grow weary in doing good. Because this world is messy, this life is messy, so allow Christ to use you to do something different, something good in His name. And that's the name of the game, right? It's not about us, not about our name, but it's about the name of Jesus Christ. Because my name has no power, but Jesus has the power to save.
That's right.
I'm Aaron, and this is Josh, and we will see you next week on Behind the Beards.
Till we're all growing a beard. A man's face should never be bare. We just want some facial hair. We're anticipating, yeah, everyone's waiting for a beard.
Yeah.
We get a lot of podcast plays on like the Apple Podcast app. That's where kind of most of our views come from, I think.
I have never logged in to check to see if we have if people have rated it or anything like that. Other than myself, I always rate it.
Like, rate, review.
Like, rate, review. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's what that sounded like to me.
Any good movies you've seen lately? See anything good over the... Oh, wait. Did you see Spirited?
No.
The Christmas movie with Will Ferrell and...
No, we didn't go to the theater at all. I didn't have time.
Watch Spirited.
We watched Puss in Boots.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah, it was really good.
Was it?
It was really good. And they did I don't know how they do it. They did such a good job. The villain literally scares the crap out of you. It was so good. You feel the fear of Puss in Boots. The story was just pure. It was just a good story. The bad guys, there are multiple bad guys and the overarching villain. It was just really, really fun and good. My only peeve is they do a couple scenes where some of the characters curse in a kid's movie, but they bleep it out. And it's just
yeah,
why do you do they did that in Super Pets as well. I enjoyed that movie, but the turtle just had a mouth on her, and I was like, why are you doing that?
Yeah,
but that's my only complaint about it. It's just not necessary. But other than that, it was just a clean, good, funny movie, and it was good. The I watched the movie The Bad Guys, and the animation was so good.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was just man, these are the people. And so watching this, it was also just the animation was just so solid, so clean, so good that I really enjoyed it. We did watch The Glass Onion, and that was a lot of fun. That was really good. I like those movies.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's the new Knives Out movie.
Okay.
So there's the first one, and then there's a second one. There's supposed to be a third one as well, but this one was just as good. And what I liked about this Glass Onion was that it was not like, hey, we're gonna tell the exact same story just with new characters in a different way. Like it's a completely different mystery. It's a completely different context, and it was just really good.
Well, Spirited was really good.
I watched The Menu.
Yeah.
And you didn't see The Menu, and that one was really good. It's on HBO Max.
Okay.
And it's not a horror. It's more like a psychological thriller. So it's not like a horror movie, but it's really interesting. Actually, it kind of like the message that it brings kind of like was messing with me a little bit. It was really interesting. It's really interesting. It'd be fun to like pick your brain after you watch it or something. I watched it twice. I watched it once by myself, and then I watched it a second time with Alan.
Okay. No, I'll have to check it out. That was The Spirited was one movie that we saw, and I was surprised that it was clean.
Really?
With Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Language was clean. The story was really cool. It was a spin on A Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
But with a really, like, I'm watching it and I'm going, that'll preach. Preach.
Wow.
And
that'll preach.
I'm not going to say anything more about it because it's just the hook didn't surprise me. Like the little twist didn't surprise me when they threw it in there. But some of the things that they say after that, I was like, oh man, that's good. Like
I have always found Will Ferrell to be hilarious in PG or PG-13 movies.
Yeah.
And anything outside of that, I've never found him to be funny. If the movie got an R rating or something like that, instantly I found him just to like not be funny at all and uncreative. I feel like these guys are more creative when it's PG-13.
Right.
But when they don't have to like actually be creative and they just get to like be nasty and dirty, it's like not even funny to me.
Right. Did you see the Daddy's Home movies?
Yeah. Those are funny.
And, like, how do you get a clean movie with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg? I don't know.
Right?
I'm so glad you did because it was so funny and they worked so well.
I don't know. What do you mean? I like Mark Wahlberg in Transformer movies.
Transformers,
so funny.
Yeah. And Instant
They're so
Family
bad
was good with him. So.
Oh yeah, Instant Family is a good movie.
Yeah.
Talk about a movie that'll preach.
Yeah, for real.
That movie, that one gets Lauren and I. That one breaks our heartstrings every time.
Yeah.
Oof.
I agree.
You know what? Also, I like the movie Blended.
Oh yeah, Blended is good.
I like that one. That's such a good one too. With Adam Sandler.
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, Adam Sandler. Is it Jennifer Aniston? Adam Sandler. Yeah.
No, that's also a good one, but that's a different one. I think Blended is the one with Adam Sandler and with what's her name from 50 First Dates and
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got 3 boys and he's got 2 girls.
Oh,
and then they get to go on a vacation together. So look at Josh Jones in here.
Drew Barrymore. Here you go. Thanks.
Thanks,
He
Josh.
probably beat me to
Hey,
it.
Josh said he's going to come on the podcast again in the future. So
Let's go.
So that'll be sweet. Just Go With It, which is also a really good movie. Good point, Josh. I enjoyed that movie too.
Yeah, I did too. But it was Jennifer Aniston in the peak of like the kind of a Friends fame and popularity there. So,
Maybe.
guys, thanks for hanging around for the post show. We'll see you next week. We'll see what other movies we can review next week. In the
That's
post
right.
show.
We'll get another draft going too.
Oh, absolutely. That was fun. That was a good pre-show.
Nice.
Peace.